Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another session of 5 Minutes with R. I'm Dr. HIn Boo. A few videos ago, I showed you what can R do, and I have showed you what are the statistic analysis, the data manipulation, and the data visualization with a data example. And at the end of the video, I showed you that in order for me to transfer my output into a proper presentable way, I copy and paste it into a Microsoft Office Words. And this can be a very tedious work when you have a lot of graphs table to generate and to produce it in a manuscript. And especially for me, when I have a lot of collaboration and I want to show my data output transparently to my collaborators, if I want to do it every time I have to rerun my statistic, it's quite tedious. Right? And so there are other steps or ways you can do, especially by scripting your data analytics and then run your script immediately and generate out a document automatically. So one of the steps will be either using RMarkdown or Quarto. And that is why today I will show you how can we generate output of the whole steps of your data analytics so that you can directly send it over to your collaborators for revision. And how do you start with the R Markdown? So we can start off by coming right here, click this button and click R Markdown. And then you set your title here. Okay. Once you press OK, there's a R Markdown example template will be shown here. So this is basically the basic template. And I already prepared another output here, right here, and test R Markdown this right here, and I reset up for your preview. So here I show that my output is in HTML documents, and I have table of contents, and the table of contents is floating. Followed by loading the libraries that I will be using for this data analysis, the data that I want to load it, the test of normality of my variables, the measured variables, so I can later have to transform it if it is not in the format that I wanted. Lastly, we skim the data so that we can have a descriptive data set, descriptive data analytics on the variables that we are targeting. We can do some pivot or data management or wrangling, some data, simple data analysis, and lastly, data visualization. So before I start off to do or conduct the data output generation of the HTML, I will usually will start testing all the scripts here. We just press this play button and see start running here automatically. Everything runs all right here, so there are no technical or critical errors. Everything looks okay, fine. All right, things looks good right here now. Outputs, statistic analysis, as well as finally visualization. All right, everything looks good so far. And once thing has been set up, you can press this neat button and we'll wait for the console to render it into another format. And in our case, we want to do it in HTML. And voila, pops up the HTML. If you press this button to zoom in it will run it in our browser. So once it start off, on the left side, I said it, this is the table of content. And on the right main panel, you should see all the scripts and all the output that we have done so far. Like in this case, I've load data and conduct all the statistic analysis can be presented here. And in fact, the visualization graph that is interactive can be played here as can be interactive here as well. One good thing about this HTML is that it produces graphics that can be a picture and a high resolution picture. And you can either if you agree to the analysis, you can transfer it directly to into your manuscript. And in fact, you can also uh, play around with the table of content to go to the part of the HTML file that you need to go. And lastly, I have also included a report whereby you produce the methods and methodology in the statistic analysis as well as the references. So this is how we generate an HTML that can be sent over to your collaborators with all the outputs of the statistic analysis. without having the trouble to copy and paste everything into a manuscript in order to in a document files in order for it to easily transfer to another collaborator via email or a Dropbox links. So if you find this video beneficial to anyone you think who wants to run R statistics programming, please share, like, and subscribe to this video. With that said, thank you.